everyone, and welcome to the Wilson Life. My name is Brandon, for those of you that haven't joined us for our past videos, and yeah, welcome. This episode, we're just going to go over a few different things that we're up to. Just get out here getting some wood, doing morning chores, and the kids are all done, so they're sledding around and playing. So I just got some wood, covered things back up, animals are taken care of, and yeah, it's a beautiful morning this morning. We got the sun out, and it's actually pretty warm. It's right around 20 degrees. We went through and we've revamped our security system. Yeah, the kids are having a hard time getting along this morning. Anyway, so we've revamped our security system. We're going to kind of go through that. I'm not going to go dig down deep into that, but we're going to go over what we use and why. And then kind of future plans for expanding. We're about 80% done with our security system. We'll just kind of review over that. And then we'll also review over some of the projects that we've been working on the inside of the house. So we've had some plumbing issues and stuff. So I'm going to kind of go over that and go over some of the difficulties that we've had with that, because there's two things that are definitely not my strong point. That is plumbing and electrical. So I struggle with those. They kind of daunting to me, and anyway, I'm trying to get better at that. So we'll go over that, and yeah, that'll pretty much sum up what our video will be for this week.
Let's go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Colin. Happy birthday to you.
Okay.
Now you can.
Now blow out your candles.
What you doing, Bubba? You hungry? Yeah? What you looking for? But anyway, a little backstory on Colin. He was born early and has had some developmental stuff, and one of the things is he hasn't been able to keep weight on. So he's pretty small for his age, and he actually has a feeding tube. We haven't been using the feeding tube for the last 2.5 months, and he's showing more interest in food. He's still having a hard time keeping weight, but we're finally on a curve. So yeah, this is a good sign for us. Did you find what you like? What is it? Yogurt? Yum. Alright, so as I mentioned, we've got a few projects we've been working on the inside of the house, and so one of the big ones is we've had some issues with the valves under our sinks leaking. This has kind of been an ongoing thing. We've already changed some. Anyway, basically we found out the one under our sink was a lot bigger of an issue than we first intended. Or first thought, I guess. So we've had to change the water valves, and then we've had to tear apart some of the cabinetry. So I'll show you here. Alright, so here you can see we've got the bottom of the cabinet torn out. I will place up a picture. There it is, of the rotten cabinet bottom. It was a lot worse than we thought. And then anyway, as you can see, this is a lot better than it was. We're still working on cleaning it out with basically a screwdriver, shop vac, and bleach. So it's kind of rotted all along there. It's all this is all savable. This is just kind of build up from things, so we're just still working on cleaning it up. And then down here, as you can see, down here, so that pretty sure that's mold, and so we're working on cleaning that up, hitting it with bleach, and just kind of letting the bleach do its thing, and then we're going through and cleaning it up. So it's been a bit of a process. As you can see,
we killed all of the bugs.
We've got, oh yeah, there's some from the decaying wood. There's some bugs, so we got that all cleaned up. But so we got some new valves. Instead of having the twisting valves, we have the quarter turn valves. And I also had to replace this line here to the dishwasher because it was leaking. No leaking now. Everything's dry and leak free. So now that we got that all fixed, we're just trying to get things fixed underneath the sink, dried out and cleaned up, and I gotta look and see if there's some sort of once we get the mold here taken care of, I gotta try and see if there's some kind of sealant I can throw down on it, and then I'm going to get some cabinet wood and cut it to fit. Hi, Brooklyn. And we'll get it to cut it to fit and put it back in place, and then we're gonna get some sort of water sill or there's these pads and stuff you can get, so we'll probably do that. So we did the same thing underneath the master bathroom, under that sink. That was having the same issue, not quite as bad, and so we got that fixed. In fact, I actually have to go back and tighten some things. I think I put the thread tape on backwards, and so I have a small leak. So I'll have to go down underneath the house, shut off the water main again, and pull the valve off. And I'm actually gonna, a buddy of mine who's a plumber told me to use the pipe dope on the threads. So that's what I've used on everything else, and so far no leaking. Works great. So I'm just gonna forego the tape because for some reason I don't know, I guess I put it on backwards. So we'll do that, and then that project will be all finished. Still haven't heard anything back on the fence. We're gonna need to call and have someone come out to give us an estimate and see if we qualify to get the fence fixed, and then go from there. All right, there it is. So we went and added some new features to our security system. We added a video doorbell, and that's actually been great. We've had it up for 24 hours and it seems to be working really good. So as you can see, it doesn't sit flush, it sits kind of angled, and I will show you why here in a minute. Anyway, so it it gives us the right angle for what we need. If I were to have mounted it flush, we would have had this post right in the middle. So now instead of this post being right in the middle, it literally sits like this, and we are able to see our driveway and the front porch and the Tahoe. We can still see street view and everything. So that's awesome. It's a lot better. We had a camera mounted just above the light. I don't know if you can see the holes there. We had one mounted just above there. It was great, but we actually decided that camera was going to be better suited somewhere else, and we have installed it there. Now I'm not going to go through and show you all of the cameras and where they're at, just for security reasons, but I will tell you we do have a total of 10 cameras, both on the inside and outside. I've strategically placed them in places of importance, and we have, part of the reasoning we've done this is because here we had some issues. Our vehicles have been broken into. Post the video here. Our vehicles have been broken into, and we have had some crime issues. A little bit of vandalization. We have, across the street from us, we have several apartments. Almost the entire street across the way is apartments. They're like condo apartments, but still. So we've had some interesting people in and out of here. Luckily, at the moment, we haven't really had much issues. The only issue that we did have as of late across the street, had someone break into their coin-fed washer, and anyway, the landlord's a friend of ours, and contacted me and asked me about if I had any footage of people coming in and out, and unfortunately I didn't. So another reason why we decided to add a couple extra cameras. We are in agreement with him to have a couple of them adjusted so they capture both our property and his, and if we have any footage and that, we are in agreement to share with him. So that works out great as well. But yeah, so like I had said earlier, we are about 80% with our security features. I refuse to use any of the Alexa or any of those things, but the system, however, we are using is the Blink system. It does run off of Wi-Fi, and all the cameras except for 2 of them are wireless and do require battery. Now, some people might say that's, why would you run something like that? More secure to run, hardwired system, CCTV. I have used CCTV. I do like them. The problem is installation is a pain in the butt. You have to run wires, you have to get up inside and crawl around in the rafters. It's a bit of a headache. Once it is set, it's permanent also. So I like being able to have the freedom to move things around, because you think one area is going to be a good idea, and you realize, maybe that's not such a good idea, and we should try to move it. So I like the freedom of being able to do that. Them being battery powered, you would think that it would be a pain. It really isn't. We use the lithium batteries, even in the negative temperatures, negative 20 and stuff. Our batteries still do quite well. We average about 1.5 to 2 years for the batteries, and I would say at least 3 of our cameras are in what would be considered a high traffic area with lots of movement and everything. Now I'm able to take and schedule things so that the prime of the time with all the movement, they're not recording. So that has helped as well. But so far we've been pretty happy with the Blink system. Now there are some downsides to it. Running it on a Wi-Fi system, if the power goes out and that, you're down your system. Pretty much any system like that's going to be down that way. I am looking at backup power options to keep the system up and running. But once again, it's not just about the power. You lose the power, you're going to lose your internet. So that is kind of a big downside. That's why the other 20% of our security system is not yet ready and implemented. So I do have some fail-safes and some backups that I will be putting in, and I will talk about that in a future video.
but we will be adding some things to the system that don't rely on Wi-Fi or necessarily power. They're a lot easier to set up to backup. They actually have built-in backup systems. So that will be something for the coming videos, and we're actually pretty excited about that. So once we have that stuff in, our security system will be pretty much set up. Now, the other downside to having a Wi-Fi system is possibility of being hacked, or someone hacking into our Wi-Fi, or someone hacking into our cameras and being used. That is something that I am actually considering and looking at. I would like to be able to set up a whole different Wi-Fi system and be able to run just the cameras off of it, so that I don't have lag and everything else that comes with using a Wi-Fi system. So doing a little bit more research to try and improve things as far as that goes. But even if we lived out in the middle of nowhere, I probably would still use some sort of security system. And not necessarily for people, just I think it's kind of fun being able to capture wildlife and everything. And especially since we have our own animals and whatnot, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, having a camera on the animals and keeping an eye on them, when you've got predators and stuff out there with full access to your property, it's kind of important to be able to have something to keep an eye on those animals. So whether we're in the city or out in the middle of nowhere, I definitely would still use some sort of camera security system. That's the other thing. If we do end up finding a piece of property and moving out of the city, I am going to be able to take that security system with me, and I'll be able to set it up wherever I go. So that's kind of awesome part as well. So that's basically what we've got going. Just trying to keep up with the cold and some of the issues inside of the house that we're trying to take care of while we have the time inside the house. Once it starts getting warm and snow melts, we'll be spending 90 to 95% of the time outside.